Hello, and welcome to Life's a Bitch and So's Your Mom. I'm your mom. Today, I wanted to talk about George Lucas. Well, not George Lucas really, but because of him, I wanted to talk about the Disney Corporation. We all saw it coming. As a company, Disney has a lot going for it, but they always choose to play it safe. Nothing cutting edge, nothing really original. They love the tried and true, preferring regurgitation to originality, opting to dumb it down rather than to innovate and inspire. And as a company philosophy, I suppose it's not a bad policy. Safety in what they produce means safety in profits. Guaranteed production of the same old, and guaranteed profits. Nothing spectacular. If you've seen The Force Awakens, you know what I mean. Not only was the story part of a tried and true franchise, but the story itself was little more than a poorly disguised retelling of Episode 4. If you'd like to be truly disheartened, go watch A New Hope, and then watch The Force Awakens. It's bigger, it's louder, and the effects are glorious. And yet, it's a much smaller movie. But why? Why did Disney choose to make an average movie? Well, why do we all choose, at least sometimes, to take the average path when we could go for something glorious? You don't know what I mean? Well, when was the last time you went to McDonald's instead of going home and cooking something for yourself? When was the last time you went to Starbucks instead of going to that little unknown cafe downtown? Almost all of us do it. We opt for the average because it's faster, it's easier, sometimes it's cheaper, and usually it's a known quantity. A burger at one McDonald's is pretty much going to taste like the burger at another McDonald's. And a Starbucks skinny soy caramel macchiato latte with extra whip is going to taste like a Starbucks skinny soy caramel macchiato with extra whip at another Starbucks. They're going to taste the same worldwide. But we do that, and we stay with what we know because it's safe. And playing it safe has allowed us as a species to survive for millions of years. Playing it safe has also meant that Disney, as a corporation, will also survive. So let me ask you this. Is mere survival enough? I don't think so. Think about it. A life worth living without at least a little risk is hardly a life worth living. Now, I said a little risk, not stupid and unreasoning risk. And I know, you're guys. At least some of you are guys, and probably most of you are guys. And guys are hormonally driven to take risks. Really. There's at least a few studies that show that testosterone and risk-taking are correlated. But I'm going to trust you to use your brains and decide against skateboarding off the roof or practicing to be a self-trained ninja in lieu of taking risks in the business world or a startup venture or even creating a new product. Risk-taking, however, isn't about just creatively ridiculous products and dangerous physical challenges or starting businesses. It can also mean taking risks with the status quo, taking your status in life and challenging it. Taking all those long-held beliefs of yours, questioning them, taking your fears and confronting them. I think you may be surprised by what you find. Maybe angry, disappointed, delighted, even thrilled. You see, we humans, we're pretty magnificent creatures. And I don't think that we were meant to settle for the same old day after day. Not when our brains and our imagination and our talents and our skills can elevate us. I don't think that we, you or I, were ever meant to lead lives of quiet desperation. And it's only through pushing our boundaries, the ones that we set for ourselves and that others set for us, that we can see just how truly magnificent we truly can be. Would you like some proof? 12 human beings have walked on the moon. They've left the planet and they've walked on the freaking moon. The doctors at the Children's Hospital in Miami used a pair of artificial pumps to keep a 14-year-old girl alive for 118 days until a heart could be found for a heart transplant. They kept a human being alive for 118 days without a heart. Lindsey Sterling wrote Minimal Beat. Go listen to it. I'll wait. For that matter, while you're at it, go listen to Miracle of Sound. jet black dress. Talk about amazing. Michelangelo carved the Pieta. Star Trek, all of them, well, not Voyager, but the rest of them. Team 4-star, Pacific Rim. For crying out loud, we've landed a space probe on a comet. Think about that for a second. Douglas Adams once said that space is really, really, really big. You cannot imagine how big space really is, and how small a comet is, and how much smaller that space probe was. The math, the science, the technology, everything needed to put it all together, and it all came out of the minds of humans. Human minds, human brains, the same thing that's sitting inside your cranium, so full of incredible ideas and potential. So why settle for the same old when you have the potential for so much more? Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking of all the reasons why you can't do something. You've got 1,000 reasons. Why not? 1,000 reasons to play it safe. And that's okay. Heck, it's even reasonable. Taking risks doesn't come naturally to us as a species. For the most part, it's a self-limiting habit. But oh my God, the feeling you get when you take a risk and you succeed is incredible. There's a catch. You won't succeed. Not every time, and maybe not even most of the times. Maybe not ever. They say that Edison tried 10,000 different materials before finding the one that succeeded as the filament for a light bulb. This is not true. Edison's research team tried 10,000 materials before they found one that worked. Edison simply sold the product and took the credit for it. But my point is that even our failures are important. Failures are important, but when you succeed, oh my God, it's glorious. And it's also the foundation for the next step in your lives, in all of our lives. You see, our lives are built on the information that we get from our failures and the successes, everything that we do in the process of going beyond our current limitations. You learn what you can do as well as what you can't. But in doing so, sometimes you get that little niggling feeling in the back of your mind saying, what if? What if? What if? You decide to take that class. What if? You decide to ask that girl out. What if you decide to write that book? Or you try out for a play? What if you're in a life-threatening car crash that allows you to What if you're in a life-threatening car crash that allows you to rethink your future and you decide to go to college after all, where you study film and you develop a passion for cinematography and camera tricks, and you make some experimental short films that win some awards and get made into full-length feature films that get you recognized by a major film studio who then hire you to direct films, which in turn allows you to work on your pet project that the studio isn't wildly thrilled with but makes a gazillion dollars and allows you to turn those cinematic tricks into a major production company that's responsible for the innovative effects in 1,000 more movies, as well as for 5 sequel movies that are so incredibly popular and so financially successful that you sell the franchise to Disney, who produces another incredibly successful, if not innovative, original film. Well, then you're George Lucas. But the bigger question is, what happens if you don't? So, push your boundaries. Don't settle for the same old, not when there's something new and original for you to try. Say no, or at least say maybe, to those barricades that keep you from discovering what you can do and what you can be. Because you're the only person who can truly decide what you can and can't do. It's not going to be easy. Nothing really worth trying, nothing really worth accomplishing is ever easy. Fighting habit and your innate nature and millennium of human habit and genetics is never easy. But your life is worth the effort. Because life is a bitch. But when you stop letting your fears and your worries control you, when you're willing to take the risks involved in pushing your boundaries to discover what you are, what you can be, and what's really out there, then life's your bitch. I'm your mom, and I'll see you next time.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Oh, Jesus Christ.
You can hardly see her.